What's up, guys? So I've been getting a lot of questions about the S23 FE in 2025 here. Is this a good phone to buy here? So the issue that we typically run into with this phone is that the S22 Plus is around this price point, and then we also do have the base model S23, which is a smaller device, so you may or may not care about that, but you can see $350 here for a base model S23 in the used refurbished marketplace. This is in good condition, and the S23 FE has come down actually in price. It is $279 now, $269. Sometimes independent sellers are selling these for around $250. So I would say that actual $250 price or somewhere around there is what you want to aim for. I don't think it's a good deal to buy this phone if it's not around like that $250 price point, or if you don't get this on a carrier deal, because you can get an S22 Plus, which I like a little bit better. But it's not like there are pros to getting the S23 FE, right, guys? There are pros to getting this phone because it'll have slightly longer software, stuff like that. But overall, I do prefer the S22 Plus. If you guys want to see a comparison on that, then I'll do that. But just take those into considerations because it's very confusing but like I said, I would do that. And this phone has come down in price, so it is pretty decent if you get it for that price point. We have a glass and metal design. It still has a pretty nice design. It's kind of like a sharp phone, like right here, but it's still pretty comfortable to hold. It fits in the palm pretty well, and overall the design doesn't look too bad on here. And it basically looks like every other, Galaxy flagship phone. It's IP68 dust and water resistant. All right, so let's talk about the display on here. This was the kind of issue a lot of people had with this phone. A lot of people didn't like the bezels. They thought it looked really cheap for a mid-range phone. It does have, as you guys can see, like much thicker bezels. And what's funny is Samsung has continued to do this with the S24 FE, I guess to, make a noticeable difference between, that and its other, flagship models. But a lot of people didn't like that. But the display itself is pretty decent. So it is a 6.4-inch display. And, it's a nice looking panel here for sure. It's got the very nice vibrant colors. It's dynamic AMOLED, 120 Hertz. It is HDR10 Plus, and it does have the 1450 nits peak brightness. It's 1080p, and then it's 403 for the PPI. So it's a very nice, colorful panel. I don't really have any issues with the display besides, you just might not like the thick bezels. It might be an eyesore for a lot of people, but overall, the actual display is fine. We got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM, and this does have the Galaxy AI stuff. And this phone has gotten smoother, but it's definitely not as smooth as I would like it to be. There kind of a bit of animation jitters sometimes, like just coming into Chrome right there. It can be a little bit jittery, but it's nowhere near as kind of slow, I guess, as when I first got it, because it used to be way more glitchier. Like coming over here used to be super glitchy. But yeah, so the speed on here is fine. Like the average person probably won't notice a difference, but yeah, I think the old flagships are a little bit smoother than this phone, guys. So definitely, yeah, as you guys can see, it's not super slow, but right there coming out of the camera, kind of a little bit jittery. Yeah, so like I said, it's gotten better, but they still need to work on the animations on this device. I don't know why it's this, because the other 8 Gen 1 phones don't do that. Alright, so when it comes to gaming on the S23 FE, the performance is pretty good, but like I said, you won't have the best optimization here. There's no 90 frames or anything like that. Even though this can definitely, play PUBG at 90 frames, it's just not optimized. But if you're not a serious gamer, it doesn't really matter, because this does a fine job at 60 frames. It does fine with Call of Duty. I don't really have overheating problems with this phone, so that's not an issue. So I would say gaming performance is pretty solid on here, but just know that if you are a competitive gamer, you could definitely get better frame rates, going with a older flagship like the S22 Plus, or saving up and getting an S23 or something like that. So just do note that. Check out these speakers, max volume. The speakers are actually pretty solid on here. We got a good amount of bass, decent quality. It's decently loud as well, so no issues there. And then the fingerprint scanner on here, it is an optical one. Now it does work fine. Like I said, it's not like the ultrasonic ones, but like it does work. You just can't lightly tap it. You just put a little bit of pressure on it. No real issues there. You do have face unlock on here as well too. That works really well. So the cameras on the Galaxy S23 FE are pretty interesting here. So they're not bad by any means, I don't think. It's a 15 megapixel standard and 8 megapixel telephoto, 3x optical zoom with a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K 24. And you also do have a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. We can go all the way up to 30x zoom. And when it comes to the shots on here, the shots look pretty good. If you're in good lighting, you get those really vibrant colors that you may or may not like, but it makes the photos look really colorful. And also there's a good amount of detail. The ultra wide is pretty nice. The 3x is pretty good on here. It doesn't give you a different color or anything like that. And overall shots look, pretty good. So I don't have any issues. It can get a little bit soft, I noticed, in like lower light. So not even just lower light, just like if you're like in the living room, it's not really well lit, then it could be look a little bit soft. But other than that, the selfie camera is fine. I don't have too many issues. The video is okay. So it's not a bad camera by any means. So this phone actually does a pretty good job with battery life. That is probably one of its strong, it's kind of like strong areas. It has a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, but it just does a very good job with battery life. I've never had like screen on time problems with this phone, and standby time is pretty good on here as well. So that is I think one of the best things about this phone in particular is that you have a pretty good screen on time. It has 25-watt charging. You also have your wireless and reverse wireless charging on board. So I don't think the battery is all that bad, actually. Now, should you buy this phone? Like I said, you have to take those things into consideration. It does get the 4 major years of updates, so it will get up to Android 17. So if you buy something like the S22, any of the S22 series phones, you won't get Android 17. But yeah, so it just really depends, guys. So what you're looking for. This is slightly bigger than an S23 base model here. So it just comes down to those factors. But it's not a bad phone, guys. I don't think this is a terrible phone at all. I think the only thing I don't like about this phone is sometimes I wish it was a little bit quicker with the animations, as you guys can see. But let me know what you guys think.